Hey friends, this is Stacy with SF Johnson Consulting and Construction Services, here to introduce a new segment of our educational program we call for fill in the blank only. And this is for roofing and roofers only. And so what that is a program where we cover basics, estimating, and then safety related to that trade. And so we always start with the estimating or takeoff portion to introduce the trade. And what we have here is a small roof for a Scooter's Coffee. And this is the scope of work. So the keynotes on the roof, basically it is a TPO roof, 60 mil over a half inch DINS deck over poly la insulation. Okay. And so what we need to do, we need to determine how many square feet of the TPO. We need to check to make sure if we have parapet walls, which we do. What is the how many square feet of that do we have? Because chances are we're going to have the roof finish go over the parapet wall, right? And then we have some parapet caps, so we need to be able to, and this is typical for every roof, so it's not really anything, the square footage of the finished material, the cricket sizes, possibly, um, how many linear feet of flashing for a particular purpose. Anywhere where there's wall and roof meet is usually a place to put the flashing. So I always give the how many, basically the perimeter of the roof, and then any of the cricket lengths, right? And what's a cricket? It's just additional framing we place over the main framing to give it a slope so the water doesn't gather here, right? So and the arrows indicate the direction the water's going to flow, right? So we want the water to typically flow uh, in this direction towards the valley, right? Kind of early, kind of early. All right. So we want the water to flow towards the valley, and it's usually some roof drains or, gutters, downspouts, and I'm sure number three, that's what that is. Let's see. Yep. A roof sculptor. So what do we have to do? How many square feet in total? We have to measure how many linear feet the perimeter, because chances are the parapet wall is the length of the parapet wall goes the perimeter of the building. We're going to look at the section views. That's a building section view, so we can see the thickness of the insulation and all the other details, right? Because from the plan view, we can only determine how many square feet of the finish, plus we can determine how many linear feet. And so for the roofer, square feet of the finish, always determine how many square feet of opening we have. And this is an opening for a rooftop unit or condensing unit or something like that. Then we want to know how many square feet. And, it's a circle, so we just square it out, because we do want to be able to give to the roofer how many square feet of opening, because they're going to deduct that if they want to. I don't know. It's just waste, right? Deduct that from the total area of the roof. So, area of the roof, perimeter of the roof, because we're going to have to look at a section view to determine the parapet height. So, let's go here. So, we have four different building section views. So what this is now this building section view is good for a bunch of people. It's such a small building. So it's good for the framer. We need to know the full height of those, God, I can't even think. The full height of the shear wall. Shear wall height usually goes the full height of the building. So now I know that the shear walls are going to be this height. So I can use this for that, I can use it for the thickness of the insulation. I can use it for finished carpentry. This looks like 2 top plates and another, and it's most probably at the perimeter of the building. And so for my roofer, tells me my roof finish, right? And I can look and see that this is the board insulation as opposed to the bat insulation. And if I'm the insulation professional, I can use this too to determine the height of my insulation. A lot of good things from this view. But because we are the roofer, we have to make sure we go to the next view. Why? Because this is a call out, right? A detailed call out, meaning it's telling us it's going to call out just this portion of the building. And because we're the roofer and our roof is showing right here, so we know that our parapet wall, it looks like it's a different height, right, based on the side of the building. So we have to go back to the roof plan, and the 1/3.1 would be the height for these walls, because that section view goes through both walls. So that indicates that both of these walls are based on that height. Now, once we get here, it's going to change. We're going to look at 4/3.1. So if that parapet wall happens to be a different height, it's going to be at this point forward. We're going to calculate the different height. But for this whole section, till we get here, it's going to be whatever height is shown. And then these also have a different. Then we'll look at 2/A3.1 for the height of these parapet walls. Because again, we can see that the parapet walls are a different height. Okay, so that's how we get that. So we go to, because I want to go to more of the detail view, so I'm going to go to 4/A3.3. 4. It still gives me another detail call out. So I got to follow every one of them because I'm the roofer and I have to make sure I followed every detail call out until there's no more. So I still know a lot about this. I know that my finish is going to go up the parapet wall. I know I have a 22 gauge metal parapet cap that is this width, and I still got to go to 7/3.4. 7. So you got to have patience. And because you don't want construction defects, right? You're going to make sure you go to every view that you're sent to. And so we see here that there are no more views, no more call outs, no more anything. So this is the final of the views, the final of the detail views. And so as the roofer now, I know that I need to do all of this for my parapet cap. And I know that even the rough carpenter is going to come to this view too. Or have it, yeah, because they need to do all of this. And then, if you're doing the siding, then yeah, you're going to come here too. It's going to lead you here too. So all of the views are based on whatever you do. If I'm the flooring professional, right, I'm not looking at these views because it's not my scope of work. But if I'm the rough carpenter, the siding professional, the roofer, all of these, it's my scope of work. Okay, so I have to go to every view. And so now I know that in terms of, because I'm looking at the plan, right, for my takeoff. And so I know that even for the rough carpenter, I know I have 2 of these top plates. So 2 times the perimeter of the roof, if I'm doing my takeoff for that, I know I have is a sealant, continuous caulking. So I know how many linear feet of caulk I have. So I know from the container how many linear feet of caulking, 8 ounce, 16 ounce, 32, whatever, a bucket, whatever. So that way I can do a proper takeoff to do a proper material determination, material cost determination, right? rain screen, high performance weather barrier. You don't want to miss out on any of that, because if you do, chances are it's going to leak and you're going to have a construction defect. And if whatever trade was your trade, you'll be responsible for all the other trades that got damaged because you failed to do your portion. That's what I did for a living: construction defect litigation adjuster. That's why you get that insurance. So just in case you don't show them, you don't know how to read a set of plans, you don't get to the detail call out number 6 or whatever, and you forget to put something in your construction and you blow it and it leaks and somebody gets sued because now the whole building is leaking, right? Yes. No. So you want to make sure you know how to read your plans. Okay? Come to the construction queen. I think this is the only time I ever referred. Like, what were you thinking when you came up with that name? Oh, probably a shot of tequila. See, I'm perfect for this job. Anyway, roof plan. Okay, so here are our wall curb attachments. So whatever this is, you got to make sure you account for it. It shows you how they want it up the wall, right? Because, well, what's the purpose of the roofer? To make sure no moisture gets in the building. Okay, so that's why we have the TPO roof on the roof and over the parapet, and with a parapet cap with the caulking so water doesn't intrude into the building. Okay, and so what do we do as the roofer? Square feet of the flat roof. Now we know we have to break up the section view, right? Because at some points this parapet wall is 3 feet, some points it's 5 feet. So we have to do 5 feet times however many linear feet. So we're accurately determining the additional TPO for the parapet wall, right? And now we have to measure how many linear feet for the parapet cap and whatever else goes with our scope of work. And we have to make sure we're doing whatever this tells us for the openings, whatever this tells us, number 8, whatever this tells us, number 5, 6. Vent, that's easy. So we got a flash, and it's going to show us at 5A. Let's go to 5 over A 3.6. 5 over A 3.6. 5. I never pan in the first time right. Okay, so here's the vent pipe. Right, because what's the point? We don't want moisture coming into the building. So we have the vent pipe, that's the plumber. And now we have to do all of this. We're the roofer. Okay, and so you need to know how to do it and how to account for it. And so it's a vent pipe, so it's a circle. You could treat it like a square. That's fine. When you're doing actual takeoff numbers for, okay, how many linear feet of TPO to what point, and it tells you, I think, stainless steel clamping ring, sealant. See, what's the point? So no water gets down in there. So you have to be able to follow every section view, detail view. So you're doing the right thing. Okay, roof deck, rigid insulation. And if this is to scale, which it is, then you can just measure what's the thickness of the insulation. That's the whole point of having something to scale. If you don't know, it's like, 4 feet, 4 inches, 6 inches, whatever. What is this? This is different from that. So you got to make sure what that is. Okay, so it's fun. It's a lot of fun. All right, so roofer, you are going to make sure you know how many square feet flat, how many additional square feet for your parapet wall, parapet cap, all the goodies that go with that, and know the heights. That's why they give you the section views, because the section view marker is if what? This is, we cut down in 2, and now we're opening up and we're standing in here and we're looking at the interior construction so you can have a better view. And then that view will take you to a detail view most likely. Okay, and take you to all of these other places so you'll know how the vent pipes come and are flashed, and how the, let's see what 7 is. We didn't look at 7. Air condenser, see mechanical drawings. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions on anything that we presented, please email me at education@sfjohnsonconsulting.com. So in addition to this, we'll have stuff like safety for the roofer, what the project manager needs to know from a roofer, from that kind of perspective. So join us every day. We have something good for you. And if you like the video, please let me know. And again, email me at education@sfjohnsonconsulting.com, and I will see you next time.